Right boys, welcome to the 36th video on my channel. How much do non-league footballers actually earn? When most of us hear footballer, we think Premier League millions, luxury cars and global fame. But thousands of players playing in the non-league system, playing below the Football League, experience a very different reality. In England, non-league football includes all competitive levels below League 2, everything from the National League down to the county divisions. Some clubs are fully professional, but many are semi-professional or amateur. This makes earnings very varied depending on the club, level and financial backing. At the top of non-league in the National League, wages can range from around £1,000 to £1,500 a week, occasionally more at clubs with big ambitions. There were of course rumours a few years ago of Ben Tozer and Paul Mullin being on a rumoured £4,000 a week at Wrexham in the National League, but that's coming from a club who are now in the Championship, billionaire owners, and I've got no doubt there'll be clubs still in the National League or even lower, churning out way more money than is expected based on wage expectation for the league, but it's of course not exactly a true representation of what the average player may make in that league. In the lower non-league divisions, players will typically earn between £200 and £500 a week, and that's more likely than not playing part-time as well. Even within the National League, some clubs are part-time and some full-time, meaning a player might train twice a week around another job, or expected to train 5 days a week like a pro. So why so much disparity? At the top of non-league, wages are often tied to club finance, owners willing to invest, ambition to win promotion, sponsorship income, and even supporter-funded payouts. At lower levels, clubs may barely break even on a match day, so wages are modest or based on performance bonuses. But let's say you're a National League South player on £500 a week. You train twice in the evenings each week. You're also a full-time tradesman. You're probably earning just as much as a low-end Football League player. But let's leave the UK for a moment and look at how semi-pro, amateur or lower division earnings compare across the world. The story gets even more interesting. In the United States, semi-professional leagues like the NPSL or the UPSL often don't offer regular salaries at all. Players may get small match fees, sometimes around $100 to $400 per game, mainly just to cover expenses. This makes non-league or its closest equivalent in the US much less reliable as a source of income than in England, where part-time weekly pay is more common. Across Europe, earnings at similar semi-professional levels also differ. In Germany or the Netherlands, semi-pro players may receive a few €100 per game or month, plus occasional bonuses, but rarely enough to live on without another job. And in Southern Europe, semi-professional wages tend to be modest compared to England's higher-up non-league. So what's the takeaway? In England, non-league pay can range from tiny match fees to over £1,000 a week at the top, but most players are part-time. In the US and many parts of Europe, lower tier and semi-pro pay is often less structured and smaller. Some countries offer minimal contracts or game-by-game fees too, meaning football is passion as much as profession. And the biggest myth is that footballers at every level get paid well. For most non-league players, the game is balanced with another job, and earnings are often supplements rather than a full livelihood. But as I've already touched on, non-league is full of anomalies. In every division, there seems to be a player who's on loads more money than anyone else. There's a player in the 9th tier of the English football pyramid, rumoured to earn about £300 a week, and that's because that team's owner is an ex-Football League owner. And obviously the same can be said for the National League. So what's the truth? Non-league football earnings range from modest stipends to respectable semi-pro wages, and occasionally even competitive first-team money at well-founded clubs. But for many players, football remains a supplementary role, not a full-time career. But anyway, yeah boys, and we're in the video there. A very short video indeed, but please comment down below what sorts of videos you want to see next. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, see you in the next one.